Greetings to everybody. On behalf of the World Peace and Unity Group and PSM Tamil Europe, we would like to express our sincere gratitude to all those who are participating in this powerful collective meditation that promotes world peace, unity, peace of mind, health, and peace. Today is Wednesday, 8th of October 2025. Every day, the World Peace and Unity Group engages in 3 sessions of meditation. Now, it is my great pleasure and honor to introduce today's speaker, Jeyanthi Nair, who has joined us to deliver a speech on everyday superfoods. Jeyanthi is an award-winning registered nutritional therapist and certified health coach. She helps women to find natural solution to perimenopause or menopause through nutrition, lifestyle, and mindset work. Using these modalities, women work through body confidence and learn to accept and love themselves while working on their symptoms and to improve their health. Now, I call upon Jeyanthi Nair to deliver her speech. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's wonderful to see you all again. I'm very happy to be here, and thank you for inviting me to speak about superfoods. I wanted to talk to you. There are many, many superfoods. So I wanted to talk to you about some that we will probably have in our homes already, and just to highlight their impact on our health and to encourage us to use more of them. Some of them you may not have. And so I wanted to speak about these things. But let's first of all talk about what are superfoods. So they are nutrient-dense foods that go beyond nutrition. And they can help towards good health because they have an excellent nutrition or nutrient profile. And this profile can include things like a rich abundance of antioxidants, which helps us with supporting healthy aging, immunity, energy, things like that. So the way that there's actually a test that's done for some of these superfoods, and it's called oxygen radical absorbance capacity. So they're given an ORAC score of their antioxidant capacity within that food. Not that I'm going to go into what their scores are, but it's just interesting to know that they are actually scored, and the higher the score, the more beneficial they can be for us. Generally, they're very rich in different types of vitamins and minerals, and they contain phytonutrients, enzymes, essential fatty acids, and antioxidants. And as I said before, they support energy, immunity, and overall well-being, which is why we want to know about them and include them in our diets. And they can actually be really helpful for vegetarians because they can fill the gap of protein and iron and omega-3 that we can get from things like meat and fish. So it's really important, I feel, for vegetarians to start including these superfoods. Superfoods, though, they don't have superpowers, which doesn't mean you just use one or two of them. They actually do work in tandem with a healthy diet. So looking after your, exercise and lifestyle and eating well in general is really important. So it's not that we can continue to eat foods that are not beneficial for us and just include one or two of these superfoods. We need to be looking at the whole. How are we improving our lifestyle in general? So no amount of wheatgrass is a super power. No amount of that's going to make up for a sedentary lifestyle. So we still need to be moving our bodies and not eating lots of processed foods, which I'm sure most people in this group don't, but it's still important to talk about. So superfoods, it's preferable if they're seasonal, and if we can, that some of the things, they have to be imported, but in general, if we can make them local and seasonal, that enhances the benefit and the impact on our bodies. So just as an example, something like goji berries, it's really high in vitamin C, but it's imported from China. So we might want to think about other sources of high vitamin C foods like black currants and red currants, just to give you an example. So one thing that a lot of these superfoods do have in common, and I'm going to show you a few of them, is chlorophyll. Many of them have that in common, and it uses photosynthesis to produce the energy in it. So it's very cooling and calming. So we need to be thinking about having plants on a day-to-day basis that are green in color, and the darker the green, the better. So we can think of things like spinach and rocket, parsley, cress, all of these that can be slightly bitter and dark green, have a rich source of chlorophyll. So that's one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about. But I wanted to go into a bit more detail with some other superfoods. So just bearing in mind that overall, we should be having lots of these dark greens because they're high in magnesium, they're high in iron, calcium, potassium, and other vitamins like A, C, E, and K. So first of all, in our kitchen, we will already have things, most of us, I'm sure, will have things like turmeric, ginger. I'm not sure if you'd have moringa powder. It's difficult to say that in English because when I'm working with clients, the pronunciation is moringa, but obviously we know that as moringa. And we will have moringa, we will have moringa yellow, but I don't know if you've seen moringa powder. And if many of you have moringa powder in your kitchens, it's a fairly dark green powder. And taking this on a daily basis can be really, really beneficial for our health because it's very high in vitamin C, it's high in iron. So menstruating women need to be taking this. It's also really good as a boost of energy. So instead of having that coffee in the morning, moringa definitely, the powder definitely doesn't taste anything like coffee, but it has a higher impact than coffee because coffee is very instant energy, and it's a stimulant, so you take it, gives you that boost of energy, and that energy can come crashing down, and you may need something else to bring you back up again, whereas moringa powder is sustained energy. So it's a brilliant one to have in hot water in the morning. I've got some in here now. It leaves this green algae kind of residue, but it's not that bad tasting. Once you get used to these bitter herbs, they're actually not bad tasting. And you just have as much as you can take. 1 teaspoon is really impactful, but I think it's very difficult to have 1 teaspoon in a mug. So I generally take like a 1/4 teaspoon or 1/2 teaspoon. Other things that we will have in our kitchen is ginger powder, fresh ginger. You may have ginger oil, because I work with essential oils. There's also ginger oil, and they're all slightly different. So the dry ginger is very hot in terms of energetics, and fresh ginger is very warming. So if you have like digestive issues, it's better to use fresh ginger rather than dry ginger. Sometimes we may use this, it's really easy in cooking, but if you do have digestive issues, make sure you're using the fresh variety. And you can combine this with other things as well. You can combine it to have, the fresh ginger with some peppermint and fennel to to make a soothing tea for any GIT complaints, any gut issue complaints. The next one is turmeric. We will all have turmeric, and it's really good to use turmeric in your cooking as maintenance. And the time that I say you need it on therapeutic levels is when maybe you have a lot of pain in your body. This amount that we use in our cooking, like half a teaspoon here and there, isn't actually enough. So if I often do say to clients, if they're in pain, I will ask them to take turmeric capsules, because then I can give it on a therapeutic level, because it's very difficult to get 5 teaspoons of turmeric through the day on a day-to-day basis. I think it's very difficult. And you may even need higher doses. So 1 or 2 capsules can really help. So if you are in pain, rather than using paracetamol, it would be a really good switch to see if turmeric can help, because it works on the same receptors. But interestingly, I did a food intolerance test recently, and I have a mild intolerance to turmeric. So even though we think of these as superfoods and they're really, really good for us, we may have some intolerances. So doing some food intolerance test at a trusted place can be actually really helpful, because I've had quite a few clients who have turmeric intolerances and ginger intolerances as well. So if that comes up, then what I would say is we need to stop it for about 3 months so that it's out of our system, and then we can slowly reintroduce again to see if there's any, whatever the symptoms are. To be honest with you, I didn't really feel any symptoms. Didn't feel any symptoms change when I took it out, but it could be happening on a level that I'm actually not aware of, because it's very mild. So along with turmeric, it's important, in order to actually release the compounds in turmeric, you need to have black pepper with it. Turmeric by itself, a lot of the benefits are locked inside, but taking black pepper, just even a pinch, actually activates the turmeric compounds, with the curcumin compounds. But in my research recently, what I found is ginger can activate turmeric even more than black pepper. So I thought that was a really interesting find. So, I mean, I bought this turmeric latte from India, and it does have ginger, and it has turmeric, cardamom, fennel, cinnamon, and that's all. It doesn't have any sugar or anything like that, which is really surprising, because a lot of these lattes, when you buy them, they can have some form of sugar, even if it's healthy sugar. There's one I bought before that had palm sugar. So we may think, okay, that's healthy, that's okay. But if you're having a mug of this every day, you're, intaking something sweet every day. And we want to start avoiding that and moving more towards bitters to help with our digestion, to help with digestive enzymes being produced. So this is a really good one. And you don't need to add anything else to this. You can have your choice of milk with this and mix this in, and it's got all the compounds to activate the curcumin in it. Another, going into winter, what I say, many of us will start developing coughs and colds, and our immunity may start to suffer a little bit. And what I say to clients is, on a day-to-day basis, having some vitamin C is really important. That's not one of the superfoods I'm talking about, but I'm leading up to it. If you have these symptoms of flu, sniffly cold, sore throat, you can start having a turmeric tea that I think is really, really powerful. So you add turmeric, ginger, a pinch of black pepper, and a squeeze of lemon for the vitamin C. You can also add a tiny bit of cayenne pepper, because that can help with pain. And you can have a tiny bit of cinnamon as well if you want to. The main ingredients are the turmeric, ginger, black pepper, and lemon. And these are additional. The cinnamon and the cayenne peppers can be additional. you fill your mug with hot water. Once it's a little bit cool, if you have a sore throat, you can add a small amount of honey, ideally Manuka honey because of its antibacterial properties, and drink that every 2 hours. And I can say, I promise you that within a day or two, those symptoms will disappear. Within my experience of, if you do have this every 2 hours, because you're flooding your body with antioxidants, vitamin C, antibacterial properties, antiviral, antimicrobial. So if you take away anything, I think that's really important as we're going into winter. Every 2 hours, have this. Just make sure, if you can't make it every 2 hours, put it in a big flask and just, sip it through the day. Be mindful of the honey. If you don't have a sore throat, then I would skip the honey. We don't want too much sugar. And even some of those in between ones, you can skip the honey as well, because although it's high in antibacterial properties, it's also a lot of sugar if you're having it every 2 hours. Okay, so any questions on this? So far, everybody okay with this? Okay, so black pepper is another superfood. Chili, whereas it's high in vitamin C, but it can actually cause quite a lot of issues if we're having too much of it. So cutting back on the chili and including more black pepper, it can be really beneficial because it's very good for our digestive system. It's very warming, and in winter it can be so beneficial as it's a warming superfood. So actually adding more of the black pepper to your food can be health enhancing than adding the green chili. Okay, so some things that we may have in our modern kitchens, I think is really important are things like chia seeds. If you don't know what they are these tiny, I think they're also called basil seeds. Some people know them as. They're these tiny green seeds, and it's actually important to make them swell. So you soak it in liquid or water, and you can drink it as a drink in the morning, or you can have it in your breakfast, so you make it thicker. Leaving it overnight actually helps with the digestive process. Instead of just keeping it for 5 or 10 minutes, allowing it to swell and have it, actually try and soak it overnight and add some seeds into it. That can make a really good breakfast. Having some protein powder in it possibly as well can increase the protein content in it and give you a really good start. And when I work with clients who have hormonal imbalances, which are many of the women that I work with, and many of them come in saying, I don't have breakfast because they've heard intermittent fasting is really good. It's a good way to lose weight. But when I start with them, I'll always say within the first hour, it's actually really important to have breakfast in order to start balancing your hormones. So if you feel your hormones are balanced, then you can intermittent fast and you can skip your breakfast. And the way you would know this is if your moods are balanced, if your sleep is really good, if you wake fresh in the morning and you've had really good sleep. These can be some of the indications that your hormones are quite well balanced. Then you may think about intermittent fasting. Otherwise, please do have breakfast, especially if you're a woman. So chia seeds are high in fiber, they are high in omega-3, and they are high in protein as well, which is why it's quite important to include them. And when I have clients who come to me with constipation, digestive issues, this really, really helps. Having some of this in the morning can change your digestive health quite quickly. Flax, which I forgot to take out. Flax is really important for hormonal issues and prostate issues as well. So you can soak a teaspoon overnight and have that in the morning. Better to strain it and drink that liquid, or you can actually make a flask of it and then strain it in the morning, pour boiling water, leave it overnight and strain it and drink it through the day. It can help with all sorts of hormonal issues. And it can help with actually eliminating estrogen from the body. Many of us, if we have a hormonal issues, we can be in estrogen dominance. And so having this flax tea can be really helpful for that.
Excuse me, what did the flax seeds mean? I couldn't understand. Can you explain to me?
Yeah, we know flaxseed seed. I got it.
Flaxseed seeds, is it you are talking?
It's flax seeds, or they're also called linseeds.
Yeah,
flaxseed seeds. Oh,
it's not flaxseed. It's FLAX, flax.
Flax, yeah. We have it at home. He knows. I know it. Thank you.
Another way of actually with the flax seeds is to grind it and have it. So if I'm ever seed cycling with women, I will ask them to grind it because your body can absorb it quite quickly. When you grind it, though, it's really important not to buy the pre-ground. They're called milled flax seeds, and they're in a little bag. And I'm always stress it's better to not buy that because they can oxidize really quickly, which means that they're exposed to oxygen, and that means it can become rancid really quickly, and then it's not beneficial for your body. We're doing all of this because it's beneficial in some way, but if we are compromising the quality of it, then we may as well not have it. I'd rather you not have the flax seeds if you're not able to grind it. So one way you can grind a little bit and then keep it in the fridge for a couple of days and then grind it fresh again. So you can grind it every 2 or 3 days, maximum keep for 3 days, and then do another lot if you're grinding it. And that's a really good way of adding it to your chia seeds in the morning, or overnight oats or smoothies or something like that. And another one is hemp, which is a really good vegetarian source of omega-3. And they're really nice. They have this really nice texture when you add it to your, can you see that? When you add it to some breakfast, sprinkle it on a smoothie. I would say don't blend it. These are easily digestible, so you can sprinkle it on your smoothies. And they are high in omega-3 and really good for us. So I quite often like that and quite often have that. Another one that I wanted to mention is cacao. I really love this, and I have it most days because it's very high in antioxidants. It's very high in magnesium as well. So it can be really important for women because of the magnesium. We need, as we go into perimenopause, we need more magnesium in our bodies. And as we age, even men with cardiovascular, men or women with cardiovascular health, which is heart health issues, magnesium is really important. And this can be a really nice way of bringing in that magnesium because it's super delicious. And instead of having chocolate bars and, sweet things, you just add a little bit of cacao. So sometimes when I make my breakfast with buckwheat flakes and chia seeds and some hemp seeds, I will add in a teaspoon of this, which makes it really delicious. So you don't have to feel guilty having these foods. You feel super nutritious and super delicious as well. And it's a really great thing to add into smoothies. It makes it so delicious that it's such a nice treat, but there's no guilt with it. You're doing your body a lot of good. And matcha is another one, matcha tea. That's it's like green tea, but even more powerful than green tea. And that also has, similar to moringa, we can have sustained energy with matcha and focus. So if we're working, matcha can be a really good alternative rather than having a cup of coffee in the morning. You have a matcha with your milk and you mix it in and have it. There's a special brush that you can have which makes it really frothy. That's a really good one to have. And then the other one that I really like, which is maca powder. So that I wanted to mention both so you don't get confused. People do confuse the two. Matcha is green and it's similar to green tea. This maca powder is a root and comes from Peru, and it's like a beige powder like this. A bit difficult to tell. Again, really good for hormones. It's high in nutrients. It's very good for hot flushes and anything hormonal. So, and the last one that I wanted to talk about is sprouts. So I think many of you do sprout, and we sprout mung beans, you can sprout chickpeas, you can sprout actually anything that you want. And there was a time when I was sprouting lentils, and what you do on a dish, you just put some kitchen tissue or something, sprinkle it with water. First of all, soak the lentils overnight and then drain those lentils and put it on the kitchen tissue and just keep sprinkling with water every day, and you will get greens growing from this. And you just pick the greens and you can eat the greens. It's a brilliant way of sprouting. And I think we should be sprouting every day. But there's one sprout in particular, which is really good for liver detoxification. And it's actually 20 to 50 times more abundant in something called I3C, which helps this liver detoxification. And they are broccoli sprouts. I don't have any to show you here. It's quite inexpensive to buy as well. You can go to Amazon and you can pick up a bag of broccoli sprouts and you just sprout it at home, just like you do everything else, quite easy to sprout. And you take about 2 or 3 tablespoons of this. And what it's really good for is liver detoxification, especially, I know I'm talking a lot about women today, but especially in estrogen dominance. So cases such as endometriosis, PCOS, fibroids, breast and ovarian cancer, really, really helpful for that. But even for men wanting to detox, this broccoli sprouts are good, but they're especially really good for women. And how long do I have? Do I have a couple of more minutes?
5 minutes. 5 minutes again.
And one last thing that I wanted to touch on before we can go into questions is something called medicinal mushrooms. So I don't know if you've heard of medicinal mushrooms before. You know the normal type of mushrooms, the closed cup and the God, what are they called? Closed cup and the white mushrooms, button mushrooms, all those type of mushrooms, which are, I'm not sure if some people who do a lot of meditation won't actually take mushrooms, but you may do. They're very high in B12. And actually one way of increasing their vitamin D, our vitamin D absorption, is by placing the mushrooms on your windowsill so that it can take in the sun, and this actually can give us more vitamin D. So that's a really good way of doing that. But what I actually wanted to talk about was medicinal mushrooms. These are like real superfoods, and you only need, they normally come in like different powders, or there's one here that I have. This is called reishi. And it's like, they're very, some of them can be very bitter. This one is very bitter. So you can boil this for a few minutes and drink the water. It's so bitter. But the more bitter it is, it's actually better for our digestive system and our own capability of producing digestive enzymes and breaking down the food that we eat. So sometimes you just have to do things like this. But reishi is very calming, and it supports sleep and stress. There's a few of them, and I'll just quickly go through them because I would love to be invited back to go more into these medicinal mushrooms, because I think they have amazing powers, and I'm doing more research on them now. So there's another one called cordyceps, and that boosts energy and stamina. There's another one called lion's mane, which is really good for memory, focus, and mood, and very good in menopause, actually, for things like brain fog and brain circulation. But of course, anybody can have them if you want to improve your memory and focus. And then there's another one called chaga, which I got this chaga coffee, which doesn't mean it's coffee. It's just kind of prepared in a similar way, and it's absolutely horrible. But for somebody else, you might really like it. It's a good way of getting these in, and that's really great for antioxidant support and immune support. And a lot of these things that I've spoken about, I just wanted to run through. You start taking them in small doses first. So like I said, you might get the maca, or you might get the moringa powder, and you want to just start small dose to see how your body reacts with it. And I wouldn't say go out and get all of these different things. Just try one or two things. I mean, maybe today commit to buying one of these things that I've spoken about today and include it and see the impact in your body yourself. So having moringa in the morning, I had some this morning. I feel really alert, really focused. My energy is high. So you have to start noticing these things for yourself. But you can take them as, capsules. You can take them in hot water. You can take them as supplements. So you can choose the way that you want to take them after you've done some research or you're working with somebody, because some of these are supplements. Moringa isn't, right for everybody. Turmeric, like I said, isn't right for everybody necessarily. If you've done a food intolerance and you realize, or maybe there's something every time you have turmeric, you think you're getting some kind of GI disturbance, which means you cut it out for a little while and see how your body reacts to it. So let our own bodies be our experiment. It's great to get guidance from somebody, but we need to be able to feel these things for ourselves in our body too. A lot of these can be added to smoothies and soups. So there's various ways of having them. You don't have to have it in the same way. So moringa powder, for example, if I make a dal, I might add a little bit into that. If I don't like it in, drinking it straight in a cup of water, I may feel I can't really taste it if I just put a half a teaspoon into that. So you can take it in different ways. So yeah, that's my recap, and I hope you enjoyed that, and I'd love to answer some questions if you have any.
Thank you for your wonderful, informative and empowering speech. Now let us all give a round of applause to express appreciation for 30 seconds, please. Okay, thank you. Now, in your presentation, you are highly impressed with moringa powder. So I would like to tell you that we eat moringa fresh leaves and prepare moringa curry most of the time for our lunch. It is part of a daily routine. So it's no wonder that now recently only they have found the importance of moringa powder, and they make it powder because some places you can't get these fresh leaves or moringa. So even in Japan, every house has a moringa tree.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Then another thing I would like to say, you have highlighted most of the superfoods, which is really a part of our daily diet. We have been eating a lot of these things. So anyway, thank you for highlighting the importance of things. So I think we are taking the correct, appropriate food for our health. Now, I would like to ask a couple of other questions because I take daily some of the foods like spirulina, cacao powder, and ashwagandha. How are they actually really? Have you heard about these things?
Yeah, of course. So the cacao powder is that's what you said, right? Cacao powder is what I was talking about.
Yeah, cacao powder. Yeah.
It's high in magnesium, as I said. Ashwagandha is very good, but it's a strange one. It's very good for calming and stress relief.
Stress relief, yeah.
Stress relief. But if you are prone to like having panic attacks, it can actually make them worse. So you do need to be quite discerning about whether it's working for you or not. I have had a couple of clients who, before they started with me, they were having some ashwagandha in some capsules. And then when I took it out of their protocol, their nervous system started to calm down. So you have to be quite discerning about that. And the other one was spirulina.
Spirulina.
Yeah,
Spirulina
can be very, very, that's what I said. There's so many to go through that it's really difficult to cover everything. But spirulina, recently I've come across this and I've been using it for somebody to improve their respiratory health. It's really good for detoxification because it helps bind metal toxins and eliminate them safely. And it's an excellent anti-inflammatory.
There is a thing they are telling you as soon as they get up in the morning to have a glass of warm water in the empty stomach. What is your opinion about that?
Yeah, every day I do that. Glass of warm water. Most mornings I'll add a tiny bit of Celtic salt to it for rehydration and replacing electrolytes that may have been lost through the night. So it can't be any salt. It has to be really good quality salt that's got lots of minerals in it. And I find that the Celtic salt is the best one.
Okay,
so, yeah.
Thank you. Now it's a feedback time. We have got only 10 minutes, so let us be brief. Let us start with Tirunakar Master first.
Okay. Thank you, Jeyanthi, for the valuable health information you have shared. And I would like to ask you some couple of questions on the, taking on these certain spices and things like that in the powder form. What I'm trying to find out, because I myself am using this for my breakfast, and what I, the case, some of the items like turmeric, ginger, cinnamon, flaxseed, pumpkin seeds, walnuts, peanuts, sprouted. So in different ways of taking, as you say, in the without making into a powder, as you say. But then if I make those things in the powder form, has that to be put in the fridge and retained, and every time you use it for your breakfast? Is it true? Is it possible to do that also?
Yeah, you can make a powder and keep it in your fridge. What I would do, I'm a fan of having different things on different days rather than having the same powder every single morning. So your powder sounds really, really good, but then you're getting just a tiny bit of those different vitamins and minerals every day, rather than everything that flaxseed can offer or everything that pumpkin seeds can offer. You're having just a tiny bit of that. So my advice would be to have 2 or 3 of those in a bit more of a quantity. So you're actually taking in more of those minerals and vitamins. So for example, having 1 to 2 tablespoons of just pumpkin seed with some hemp seeds one day. And then the next day you can have another couple. So you're actually getting more benefits of those individual ingredients.
Yeah, also, these things have been sold in supermarkets in the powder form. So I don't know whether it will retain the food value, or you said they will get oxidated and things like that. And,
yeah, it can
so
become
what are
oxidated.
your thoughts on that?
Especially if it's got flaxseed in it, it definitely can be oxidated. And you don't know when they have a shelf life of about a year, right? But when we make it at home, I know that I will keep it for 2 or 3 weeks and then I'm done with it. So I always recommend making these powders at home. I even have a powder that I made with pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, hemp seeds, flax seeds, but I'll only keep it for 2 weeks and then it'll be done, and then I'll make a fresh batch.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, next one is Lingarata Master.
Just once, I do have a client call, and so I need to tell her to wait for 5 minutes. Can you just bear with me? It's supposed to
Okay.
start at 10. I wasn't sure how long this is going to last.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jeyanthi, for your wonderful presentation.
If
Thank
you
you.
need me to answer questions for 5 minutes, I can. I've asked her to bear with me. It's completely up to
Linga,
you.
wait, hold on for 5 minutes. She's on the call.
I'm available. I've just told her to wait.
Sorry. Okay, thank you very
Okay.
much. Thank you, Jeyanthi, for the wonderful presentation on superfood. Most of them, as mentioned here, we use the daily. We use them as a daily food. When you say murunga, yeah, is it you are talking about the drumstick or the leaves? That's one
So the leaves are in powder form, and we can't always get moringa leaves here. So they are dried and then made into powder form. And then when you have it as it's like a supplement, you get a concentrated amount of that moringa, because it's just not possible to always buy the leaves. It's not always available, and spend however long it takes to take all the leaves out. We don't have time for that. So as an alternative, you get the powder, but that powder comes from the leaves.
The other question is the ghee. Ghee and honey. It's an antioxidant, and people say must consume every day. What do you think about it?
So ghee, I think, is an absolutely brilliant fat. And I think for vegetarians, it's a must, because it's also very colon cleansing and it has so many benefits to it. Honey, I would be a little bit more careful about, because we can end up just having it as a sugar substitute and, increasing the amount of sweet foods that we have. And I'm always talking about including more bitter foods to help our digestion. If our digestion isn't good, then nothing will work in our body. So we always want to be working towards how can I improve my digestion, especially as we grow older, right? Because the function does start to deteriorate a little bit. So having honey, personally, I wouldn't say having it every day, but if you are having some sort of sugar form and you need something, then honey can be a good substitute for it, because it has the antibacterial properties, and it has so many, minerals in there as well. But I would just deter from bringing it in as a daily thing, because it's good for us.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Arundhati Master, you can ask.
Greetings to all. Thank you very much, Jeyanthi Master. Excellent presentation. I come rather to the question. This mixing grains together and making a powder. All the grains, about 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 mixing grains and having in the morning. Is it good or bad? Because mixing the grains, you said better to have 1 or 2 together. But some people they put so many, 10, nearly 10.
Yeah.
Is it okay?
So with something like that, what I say is it's absolutely fine to mix those grains, but I just wouldn't say have that every day. I would have that maybe 3 or 4 times a week, and the other days have other things, so that you're actually increasing your microflora, and having different types of these grains and superfoods, and that's what I would say. So
And
you get
one more.
variety.
Okay, one more. And mixing fruits like apple, banana, not banana, apple, avocado, and some other fruit. Can you mix it and eat in the mornings?
You can mix it, but it is better if we're talking about like blood sugar spiking. Fruits can spike our blood sugars. So it's probably better to have the savory first, like avocados. So have your savory part of the breakfast first, and then have the fruit afterwards.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Tara Master, you can ask the question.
Thank you, Kumar Swami Master. It was a very good and informative talk, Jeyanthi Master. My question is, if you add honey in hot water, is it true that the honey loses its benefits?
Yeah, it becomes toxic. So you've got to have a temperature of 40 degrees or below for you to actually get the benefits of it. And actually it can be harmful. If it's hot water and you're mixing it with honey, it can be harmful. So that's why I
Oh,
say when you're making this tea, make sure that the temperature of that tea has reduced before you add the honey in and drink it.
okay. Thanks very much.
Dr. Sadam Master, you can ask your question, please.
Okay. Greetings to all. Thank you for your excellent presentation, Jeyanthi Master. Actually, not as question, but it was a brilliant presentation. Lot of facts and lot of things. All have asked questions and you have cleared most of it. But my way of looking at it is, I personally make my powders. I don't buy the powders. Because maybe I'm not paranoid, but still I feel if I make the powder, I know from where it is coming. That powder, how I made. So that's what I personally, including Murunga leaves, I do that. I get different source. I get Murunga leaves somehow. I dry it myself at home, not in the sun, and then make it. So that is one of the things I always make. Most of the powders I make, I don't know what they are mixing when they are selling. So
yeah. And you don't know how much either.
yeah, exactly. So I do that. And the taste you were talking about bitter, actually the bitter has very beneficial effect, because when you are getting used, the taste buds will change. And then you won't crave for sugar. Because people run for sugar item, but they hate the bitter and avoid. So that is one other thing I wanted to add. And one of our professor always said, you said women has to have the breakfast. He used to say to us, don't talk to your husband until he has his breakfast. You know the reason why? Because they are very irritable, hypoglycemic. Sugar can drop and they can be very difficult to manage that time. So that was a very interesting. As a medical student, I heard this from my professor. I wanted to share that. Thank you so much. Very good actually. Excellent.
Thank you. Sureshkandaraja Master, you can give the feedback.
Vanakkam and namaste and warm greetings to all. You explained very, very clearly that many of the superfoods are simple food we can eat every day in our life, So, an example, leafy green like spinach, nuts, seeds, everything is very good, comes under superfood. And also mention about this, ginger, garlic, and moringa. Moringa is very, very popular among even all the Western countries now, Everybody using moringa as well. We truly appreciate your sharing. Please join us the forum again, maybe next month in a different time. I'll give you the details to you. Thank you very much, Jeyanthi Nair. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we'll move to the next one. Jeyanthi Master, thank you, nice, and thank you very much for your really empowering, inspiring presentation. We'll see you again on this forum. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll take your leave.
யூடியூபை நிப்பாட்டலாம் நீங்க. மோருக்கு போங்க, மோருக்கு போய் அதில்